Well, it's nice for you guys to be here. It's nice to have you guys here. Once again, I'll say I wish we could be doing this in person. The empty demo room here is not the best place. Today we have Chef Chalie Schmidt again to do a demo for us, and he's going to demo, very appropriate to this class, some risotto again. Well, it is a very interesting rice to make, and there's very many ways to do it. So here's Chef Schmidt.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Thanks for coming, Chef.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure. You're the same group from last time, right?
And a little bit more.
And a little bit more. Well, good. That's why I tried to encourage you last time. So if I can contribute anything to that and also keep myself a little busy in the meantime, I'm happy to do it. So thank you. I have Tracy with me again. As Chef said, we're going to do risotto. And I just found out about 5 minutes ago, you've been inundated with risotto for the past week, but that's okay because redundancy does work. Today we're going to make a classic risotto, risotto milanese. So that's named after the northern Italian town of Milan. And it has that name because Milan is historically, along with Florence, the money capitals of Italy in general, but northern Italy specifically. So as a result, what goes into it is saffron. And here's my stash. And saffron is a spice. It's actually a stigma from a plant called the crocus plant. This one's from Spain. Most of it's from Spain, but it does grow elsewhere, and it's a very difficult crop. It only grows for about 3 weeks a year and has to be hand harvested. So as a result, it becomes a very expensive product. And if you're not familiar with it, take a little bit here like this and just show you, if you can see. What should I show, Joe, on here or here?
This camera's live, but I can.
Okay, no, keep it on this
What do you use to cook with it, like seasons?
Well, what you do with it is you need to bloom it, if you will, in liquid. Because what you're going to do, if you just put it in like a dried spice, and it is a spice, it's the most expensive spice. If you put it in like that, it won't bring anything to the party. It won't release its flavor and its coloring and all that. So you always add it to stocks, or any other types of liquids. So we're going to work with that. Again, I'll show it. I don't know if you guys were looking, but that's what it looks like. And this is the premium stuff. I mean, this is like $125 an ounce, this saffron. So yeah, it's the good stuff. But you don't really use very much. And some of the other things we're going to do is even though traditionally Milanese goes with ossobuco, which is veal shank braised, we're going to take it to the seafood side a little bit. So we're going to do it with sauteed shrimp. Yeah. Tracy. Also, I'm just identifying product for you guys. Also, I have some chive blossoms. If you remember last time when I did the crudo, the problem was I had the chive blossoms, but they hadn't bloomed. Well, now they're in bloom. So that'll give a beautiful purple color to the finished dish. We have arborio, and as I'm sure Chef Adam and Chef Dan already told you, arborio is a fat grain rice, short, fat, great absorption power, 3 to 4 times its weight in liquid. There's other grains that you can use, or one or other grain that you can use really to make risotto in the true Italian way, and that's carnaroli. Carnaroli is a little bit more expensive, it's less available on the market. And then there's a version of carnaroli, an aged risotto called aquarello, which I worked with once and was not thrilled with it, but it's very pricey and, sounds better than it really is in the sense that it just ended up making kind of a watery risotto at the end of the day. So I stick with the standard old arborio. We have some Parmesan because we finished this dish, as you already know, vigorously with parm, grated parm, and butter. We have white wine. We have chicken stock. So Chef Tracy is getting the aromatics ready right now for the dish, and I call them aromatics. And with risotto, when you make risotto, you always start off with butter in the pan, and some type of flavor base vegetables. I almost always use carrot. And,
Like onions, like Chef Adam.
Yeah. There's also can be other vegetables added to it, but I wouldn't use those to sweat out and cook in the pan for the next 40 minutes. Things like mushrooms and asparagus and whatnot. So oftentimes, when you see those types of risottos, what I'll call center of the plate vegetables are cooked off ahead of time. Shrooms and asparagus. And then the aromatic vegetables that'll give the backbone to the dish will be the carrots and the onions, and they're going to go through the whole cooking process. So Tracy's going to give me some butter so I can start to get this pan going. Trick me again.
I'm ready back. We just realized it today.
Or the other ones are all backwards.
Well,
This one's right. This one's wrong. These two are wrong.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on nonstop stirring? Necessary or not?
Well, for the risotto, right, it would be necessary.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's why I
Even
bought
though it sounds like it would be tiring, and I wish you can make it without all the stirring process,
Yes.
but
it. Yes. That's why I bought my Barbadian. Did you bring your cuckoo stick?
Cuckoo.
So Tracy's from Barbados. Yeah, I entertained you a little bit. And she's telling it, I've known Tracy a long time because she was my student like 13 years ago, and she's worked with me now for the past couple of years down in Philadelphia OIC. She's telling us about the national dish, which I won't go into. I don't want to embarrass her. But then she's talking about what they stir with. It's just
Cuckoo stick.
spoon, right?
She said the cuckoo stick.
It's called a cuckoo. She's
Yeah.
Are you from
We-
Barbados?
no, I'm from Africa. We call it a fufu stick.
So I'm not.
Well, that's it. All this is coming together. So I have many cuckoo sticks. I just call it a spoon. I have. These are also different types of cuckoo sticks. This here is called a raving maniac stick. We call that a fork. All right, that's enough now. All right, sorry, Tracy. All right, Tracy got those ready for me, and she just did a small dice, medium-sized dice. Butter's ready. Went in with the onion and the carrot. I'm sweating these.
There's
You have a picture of a cuckoo stick?
Yeah, see? Looks there it is.
I'm going to stick with a spoon. I'm sorry.
For Beijing risotto, you use a cuckoo stick. That's the difference.
Well, she puts, but they put okra in it.
Yeah.
Okra and risotto?
No.
Polenta.
Oh,
Worse.
It works. It's what, a little salt and pepper. We know that, right? We season as we go.
Yeah.
And actually, with that being said, it's interesting. This dish is one of the dishes that you really don't season very heavily as you go, because you're going to finish with the Parmesan.
Right.
Which any older dried cheese has a much higher salt content to it than fresh young cheese. So if you season this aggressively as you go, which is my standard that I generally do with everything else I cook, and then finish it with a lot of Parmesan, you will end up with something that is salty. I only have a little bit of arborio. Again, arborio absorbs about 3-4 times its weight. So I can do, we have the bloom out or saffron. So I threw one little pinch in there. I'm going to throw a little bit more.
how much does that cost for the amount that you're using right now?
I'd
I
have to
thought-
sit there and do the gram, but I didn't break down my bag.
Chef, I
Again,
thought
this
you put
ounce
the
of this is
saffron in
$1.25.
after.
So this is the reserve. Yeah. So who knows, Adam? I mean,
So, I was in Grenada and I picked up what I thought was saffron powder, and it was turmeric. I used it a lot, and then one day I'm like tasting it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is turmeric.
you see that a lot when you see people talk about Spanish rice. Which obviously, if it was a rice dish from Spain, talk to you guys. If it was a rice dish from Spain, the odds are I wouldn't be using turmeric. I would be using saffron. But turmeric basically has become, I guess, somewhat, at least for the color properties, somewhat as just a cheaper substitute. Because you really don't want to buy this stuff. You'll see it, and you can go to supermarkets and buy this, and it's grams, half a gram type of thing, and it's like $12. So it's not really the kind of thing you want to invest in small quantity. You got to get a group together for your students. Saffron buying group. You need 12 students or 10 students, 12.50 each.
Like an investment.
Yeah. All right, that's fine. Now, next step, and these steps are, again, since you've done this twice already or watched it done twice already, these steps are redundant. Going in with the arborio. So, when you do risotto, the goal is to coat the grains with the fat, which in this case is the butter. Unlike, let's say, when you do rice pilaf, where the goal is when the rice goes in after the aromatics have been sweated, same process, the goal is to toast the grains, basmati and jasmine when you do pilaf. But for risotto, we want to just, really what we're trying to do is coat them all with butter.
Because you want to keep the color white because that's the color for the risotto.
Say again, I'm sorry, dear.
You want to keep the color white because that's the color for the risotto.
Yes, and you want to coat the grains with the butter. I'll explain that to you, how that works later on when we get to that step, but yeah, I don't want to toast it. Next will be the white wine. And risotto, as Chef Joe said earlier, risotto is done a million different ways. I mean, we've done it, where you've seen it done with like Barolo risotto, which I think is just, I don't like the look of red wine in my risotto. You'll see it done with squid ink as a more southern Italian type of homage to risotto making of the north. All right, I'm starting to get a little, all right, I'm ready. Here comes the white wine. So now we're getting to the trick. I'm going to go to this cuckoo stick. I'm going to get my stirring on. You should never have told me this, Tracy. You know I'm bad with this stuff.
I'm gonna catalog. I'll use it.
I use it all the time now. Ask me the cuckoo stick. Now, the goal here,
We had one in the school.
the goal here is to obviously stir the rice and don't add more liquid until it's absorbed the amount of liquid, the previous amount of liquid. What you're really doing, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. What really happens with risotto is as you're stirring it, you're kind of smacking the starch off of it. And that starch kind of gelatinizes the liquids. In other words, makes them thicker and binds them and gives you a creaminess. See, I don't like to leave residual alcohol in the pan before I add more liquid. So not only am I considering just absorption, but the removal of alcohol. I feel it stays with dishes.
Better flavor.
Yeah, that's generally what it leaves you, yeah. So this is pretty much absorbed. And it's amazing because it does. It starts to get creamy like right away. Alcohol's gone. So now I'm going to come in with a ladle full of chicken stock. And then I'm going to ask Chef Tracy, when she gets back over there, to start to saute the shrimp. So here's the weird thing. Milanese, again, is the rice, and what makes it Milanese is the use of the saffron, the price point on the saffron. But it's served traditionally with veal ossobuco. Works very well. But it is, to the best of my knowledge, the only meat dish that features, red meat dish, that features saffron in the pairing.
But you said it goes like with more like Spanish cooking, right? With more just like rice.
Well, not only just with Spanish cooking, but yes, you're right. Not only just with Spanish cooking, but also with fish primarily. See, saffron's like a star. Saffron, risotto Milanese, paella, bouillabaisse. I mean, these are classic dishes. These are national dishes of.
And these are meat dishes or fish dishes?
They are all, what did I say? I said, well, paella is a mixed bag of everything.
Okay.
There's a million different paellas out of Spain anyway, depending on where you are in Spain. But everybody associates paella with fish. And then bouillabaisse is a French stew out of Marseille, down in the French Riviera.
So it has to have liquid in there to bring the saffron, out, right? The saffron flavors out.
Yes.
Okay.
Remember, I bloomed the saffron in the stock.
Yeah. And you also put a little sprinkle of it in.
I know, so far just in the stock, but you must be reading my mind, because I will end up adding a little bit more to the dish. Okay. So Tracy and Butter are starting to saute the shrimp. Get the salt and pepper over there. Yes. We're just going to par cook those. Now I'm going to come up a little bit.
Chef Charlie, tell them what you would do with leftover risotto.
Well, as you guys already know, I'm sure, one of the classic, and this just proves the resourcefulness and also frugality of Italian cooking. You make the classic dish called arancini. Arancini is the Italian word for oranges, like literally an orange. And basically, as your day is over with risotto, you pour whatever leftover risotto you have left into a sheet pan. Get it nice and flat, and it chills out. And you put it away overnight. And the next day, you come in, and you've got this bound-up rice. And you basically just roll it into a bowl. I mean, people put stuff inside of it. Classically, it was mozzarella, which I'm sure was not a northern Italian
or bacon.
thing, southern Italian thing. And you make, what the Chinese will simply call rice balls. And you egg wash them, and you bread them, and then you fry them. And the nice thing about that is you never have any waste for making risotto. I'm going to add a little bit more here. One trick I learned, by the way, see, even at this advanced stage, you're still learning tricks. One of my friends is Jeff Michaud, who's the chef owner at Osteria. And Jeff's a very talented guy. And, arancini's not a thing that I necessarily go out looking to have, because I made it so much and tried it so many different places. But he sent one or two out one night, and it was amazing because the rice was literally like floating inside the crust. I said, how did you get that? So, you know what I'm saying? Like the crust wasn't like attached to the rice almost. And all he did was double bread it. Egged it, breaded it, then fried it. And gave me this nice loose rice inside the coating.
Probably because the rice still had moisture in it.
Well, this gets so much liquid in it.
Yeah, that's why I probably couldn't stick to the breading. That's why I was able to create that.
Yeah, well, I think that's
layer.
probably true. I think if you tried that with basmati or jasmine, you'd fail.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of questions when you're doing stuff like this. Hard to make it very exciting.
No, we asked plenty already. This is like our third class, so
Chef,
You
are
know,
they
I say this
the
all the time, and students don't always swallow it as well as they should. Redundancy is key. You can't do a dish one time and act like you know how to do the dish, or 5 times, or 10 times. Just knowing the order of events is requires some dedication.
but watching you, Chef Dan and Chef Adam make it, you guys totally makes it different, but it's all the same results.
At the end, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Chef Charlie? What's your thought on farro? Because I've used farro sometimes because it has a nuttier flavor, or you don't like that?
Well, no, I mean, if I'm making risotto, I stick to arborio or carnaroli. People
So
use
do I.
barley, chef, you know that, barley, farro. I guess you could do quinoa. I mean, you can do whatever
No,
you
no.
like. No, it's just, to me, it's just not the same.
No.
It would change the texture, right?
It changes the texture. And what Chef Blair said, he's right, though, about the nuttiness. If you can see that,
Yeah, the creaminess.
the creaminess. Excuse me. Almost there. That's why I like this pan. This pan is a copper pan, but it's new. It's all clad. Newfangled copper pans. I mean, I have some old French copper pans. Pain in the neck. It cost me more to maintain them over the years than it cost to buy them, with the retinning and whatnot. But this is stainless steel inside, so this pan makes you a very smart cook. Hard for anything to go wrong with this.
As your go-to risotto pan?
That's my go-to for a lot of stuff, yeah. When I do butter poached lobster, I make my beurre monte in that. Because again, I can be off a little bit and still, it's like a safety net. All right, that's it on the saffron, kids. So again, there it is.
It's hard.
Me and my director are not getting along well. Okay, shrimp are ready. Yeah, I'm saying probably another 3 minutes, guys. Let me taste one more time. Five minutes. And right now, it's very under seasoned. So I'm just going to throw a pinch of salt. Oh, right there. Just a pinch, because remember, I'm going to finish with the parm. Now I'm going to come down a little bit with my heat. No, it's you're doing Italian cuisine right now. Think about how interesting it is. You think of the 3 great starches of Italy: pasta, polenta, risotto. And they can all be dressed and accompanied with a multitude of things. They're all meant to be go-to items. Clean out your refrigerator items. Okra. Well, I'm personally not a big fan of okra.
It would be too slimy for that dish, though.
A little bit, but what I've heard is if you start with your cuckoo stick, it seems to make a big difference. I see Tracy is shaking your head vigorously.
You know where you can get the best okra?
No clue.
In Oklahoma.
I'm hollering, Chef.
Yeah, you believe that?
No.
Trying to work here. All right, so now I'm just gonna get this a little bit thicker. It doesn't need any more liquid. Yes, yeah, and then pull, yeah, please.
Could you ever bring it back if you put too much liquid in it?
You just keep stirring it.
Okay.
You just keep stirring it. All right, now I'm gonna finish. Parmesan and cheese. Off the heat. Mascarpone's nice. Well, that's it. I mean, if you really think about it, it's like a pasta demo. You do the sauces of Venice, I'll do the sauces of Naples, Joe do the sauces of Rome.
Right.
We were just talking with what Chef Adam finished his with some mascarpone cheese, which is a nice creamy texture brings to the party.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever finished my risotto with butter.
Really?
Yeah.
I do too. I don't
I
put
was
it,
just about to say something.
I do it in both.
I just do it without butter.
Can't think of any time I've ever done it.
All right, one more
Okay.
taste.
No, I meant risotto.
Okay.
Other things I've done.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, ready to plate. And let's do two of them, huh? The flat plate will give you a good look for the creaminess of it, because it'll run a little bit.
Especially being that Asabuco.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why didn't you come on, man? You should make some Asabuco.
Yeah, I didn't have the time. Joe get a bill in the mail. I'm sitting there 3 hours praising veal shanks. And shrimp. I'm gonna do one with the shrimp and one without.
Yeah. What did you do with the shrimp? Sauteed it with what?
Butter. Salt
Just
and pepper.
butter? Butter, salt.
Butter and salt and pepper. And now, some of the chive blossoms. They're beautiful and very fragrant.
Grill them yourself?
Yeah.
Last year's chives.
They never die off. You know, they keep coming back. It's funny, the most delicate herb in the ground, it comes back every year like a beast.
I hate it.
Mine are 15 years old.
Yeah, mine are at least.
I have these garlic chives that just spread all over my garden. I had to kill my garden because of the garlic chives.
Well, that, and then on top of that, mint is unbelievable. Mint is like napalm. Mint hits and conquers everything within 2 miles of it.
After this, I got to show you a picture of mint that I discovered yesterday in my garden. I haven't grown in 10 years.
For you city guys like me, my chives are 15 years old in a pot on my porch.
No, mine are aren't out on the ground. They're in a pot too. So here we have it 2 different ways, not that much different. Risotto Milanese with shrimp, just good old risotto Milanese, topped off with some chive blossoms. And you can see-
Beautiful, chef. Beautiful.
Thank you, dear. Okay.
Awesome.
Did you do video too?
Doing all good.
Smells great.
Can I
Saffron
get
does
some?
that, right? Saffron's like cheating. It really is one of those ingredients. When you make it into the best of the, well, you could argue it are the three best cuisines on the planet. It's an argument. And you're in every one of those cuisines. You're doing something right as a product. So, guys, there it is. Questions?
Yeah, now I feel like I can't make risotto without saffron now.
Now mine's not gonna come out like that.
It's not gonna come out like
You gotta have a
perfect.
saffron buying group.
Okay.
Add in
Okay,
the
so
truck,
what I-
full
If you
buying
get
group.
10 people, it'll cost you $12.50 each. And then you can fight on whose house is going to get delivered to.
I seen saffron in ShopRite, and it was like $10 for one piece of it.
All right,
And
so
that's
what I
junk,
want to
too.
know is what kind of size would I be able to put with this? Like, what would you make with us for this?
what
This
you
is the
pair
dish.
it with,
Yeah, this is,
or an appetizer before.
Actually, in the traditional Italian meal,
You heard me say?
pasta and something like risotto would always serve as the primi course. Right after the antipasta and before the secondo, which is the primary. Pasta's never, I mean, in Italy, it's, not really served as an entree. Served as a pasta course.
So it's pasta, rice pasta.
Say again?
You're scaring the Bambinos with that Italian talk. It's Secundo.
I'm trying. I'm basically.
Secondo from
if any,
South Philly.
if any of you work the Italian menu in the dining room, that's what our entree course was called.
Yeah, the secondo. Yeah.
Even though-
First and second is all it means.
Yeah. So and then Chef Schmidt requested shrimp, so I tried to get whole shrimp, head-on shrimp, because if you can imagine the presentation, if you were trying to present this plate,
Yeah.
with a whole shrimp.
Much more dramatic.
But that looks good with the colors.
It really does.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it is available here. It's just that in these challenging times, is that what they call them every day? I hear it every day too.
Challenging times.
In these challenging times, the line at the Asian market was just too long for Chef Joe. He's not good with line.
You failed the challenge?
I failed the challenge. So we got stuck with tails only because we had them in the freezer.
Mhm.
But it would have been a beautiful dish or with a small lobster or
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, baby lobster. We're just hungry over here.
Another one, another
Right.
dish like this crab meat. Crab meat thrown in at the end.
Oh, I have crab meat.
oh, there you go. See? Sounds like dinner. What time?
Yeah.
That's the easy part. You have
It's
35
not gonna
minutes to
come
stir.
out there. It's not gonna come out as well as you guys.
So,
as great
so
as you guys.
Chef Adam basically came to test the food.
I'm honored because I just heard the man hasn't been out of his house in 3 months.
This is the first. I've been out of my house and just haven't left like Dicktown, New Jersey. Facebook calls my town.
Don't it
I-
feel good being outside, Chef?
I already know what this is.
My mom lives in Williamstown. It's down the
I
street.
go for the taste.
So guys, hang in there. Keep learning. Here he is.
Wait, let's see.
You were hyped.
Oh, Chef, I'm about to
Hi.
leave class now because I don't want to watch that. Mm. My heart.
Oh, look at the dance.
Oh,
It's over.
Doing it for a second.
My
Oh,
heart.
you double dip, nasty.
Just broke my heart.
Anyway, Chef Charlie, thanks for coming in to showing us our
all
demo.
right,
So
see you guys.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Blair.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
we
you,
look
Chef.
forward
Have
to
a
a
good day.
truffle
Hang in
demo.
there, man.
Hey,
All
Thank
right.
you guys for showing up. Right now, there's no demo planned for Thursday. Having scheduling issues, but if I get it done, you'll know early tomorrow morning, and then we'll see you Thursday. If not, I'll see you next week. All right?
Okay,
All
see you,
right.
Chef.
Manager and crew will see you in about 45 minutes.
Chef Bleacher.
All right. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye,
Have a good
guys.
one. Bye.
Chef Bleacher. Oh, there we left.